Compiler setup and compilation. The Scala plugin can use a couple of different compiler setups, and built-in compiler is the Zinc Compiler. This uses the Gradle compiler daemon by default. There is another option that Ryan's going to talk about in a few minutes under fast compiler support, so let's focus on what we can do with the Zinc-based compiler here. Now, if you don't want to use the Zinc-based compiler, I have some good news for you. You don't have to. You can always use the Ant-based compiling by adding in just a single line or modifying a single line. Let's take a look at that. build.gradle. The line in question, Scala compile options.useAnt equals, and it's very straightforward. False if you don't want to use ant, true if you do. Now, why would you want to use the ant-based compiler? Well, the reason why is because this will cause Gradle to fork a new process each time you want it to run. So maybe you're writing some tests and you need to reset things in between, resetting your JVM context. That's a great way to do it. I'm going to suggest that you leave the defaults alone for using the Zinc compiler. It's probably going to handle most of your needs most of the time, but you can come down here and change the configuration. Let's run this and see what things look like. So Gradle's my command, obviously. I've been messing around with this earlier, so I'm going to do a clean. And what we want to do is compile some Scala. Now, I've got to be honest here. I kind of sabotaged this a little bit, so I'm expecting a Java heap space error. And it should come up just momentarily. Yeah, there it is. Java heap space. Why did that happen? Well, because I did not leave well enough alone with those defaults. I came down and I changed my memory maximum size from the default of 1 gig to 16. It's quite a difference, huh? So now if I rerun this, same command, Gradle, clean, compile Scala, it should work just fine. And it does. All right. So again, it's just a quick demonstration of how you can change the compiler configuration. But my suggestion to you is leave it alone. You're probably going to be okay. Now, let's talk about one other thing, and that's incremental compiling. Incremental compiling is where you only want to compile the things that have changed since your last compile. And the way that we would do that is to come back and take a look at that same Scala compile options.useAnt. Set it to false. This forces it to use the Zinc-based compiler, and it's that compiler that has the incremental compile options in it. So use ant for forking new processes, resetting things. Use Zinc because it's packaged and probably just a good idea and a lot easier. But it also provides that very, very valuable incremental compile support. Okay, so I've got Ryan coming up in just a few moments to talk to you about dependencies and fast compile support. But before I turn it over to him, I want to bring up some documentation. We've got at gradle.org's in the user guide documentation for the Scala plugin. Easy to find, full of lots of great information for you. So you can either search for it or you can come directly to the URL that I've got highlighted right here. Thank you very much. And without further ado, Ryan with dependencies and fast compile support.